The biggest mistake Chesapeake homeowners may be making right now is not pricing too high, skipping repairs, or hiring the wrong agent. It is waiting too long to sell because they assume the market will automatically be better later on. And here is the problem. While you're waiting, more homes may enter your price range. Buyers may gain more choices, and the home that could stand out today may become just one more listing tomorrow. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how waiting can quietly cost you, a Chesapeake seller, leverage, and the 3 questions you need to answer before deciding whether to sell now or to wait till later on. Now, imagine 2 homeowners in Chesapeake. We will call them homeowner A and homeowner B. They own similar homes. Both properties are well maintained. Both homeowners are thinking about selling, and both want to get the strongest price possible. But homeowner A starts preparing now. They study the competing homes in their part of Chesapeake, look at recent sales, identify the improvements buyers care about, and create a realistic timeline. Homeowner B decides to wait, not because of major family issues, not because they are unable to move. They wait because they assume prices in the next 6 months will automatically mean more money. At first, that sounds reasonable. But during those 6 months, several nearby homeowners decide to list. A builder releases more new construction. One competing seller reduces their price. Another offers closing cost assistance. Buyers who once only had 2 choices now have 6. Homeowner B finally lists at the price they had imagined months earlier. But the market around them has changed. The home is not necessarily worth less. The problem is that buyers now have more ways to compare it. That is the risk Chesapeake sellers need to understand. Waiting does not guarantee failure, but waiting without watching the market can reduce your leverage. Now, before I explain the 3 warning signs that waiting may work against you, I created a free Chesapeake seller timing guide. It will help you compare selling now versus waiting, evaluate the competition in your price range, and identify the information you need before choosing the right listing date. Just comment the word timing below or use the contact information in the description and I will send you a copy today. I'm Scott Stamper, the Cowboy Real Estate Agent, and I'm here at KW Realty, and I help homeowners throughout Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and all of Hampton Roads make informed real estate decisions without pressure or exaggerated promises. Now, let's look at what can actually change while a seller waits. Part 1. Your home does not compete against the entire city. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions sellers have is that their home competes against every property in Chesapeake, and it doesn't. A home in Great Bridge may face different buyer expectations than a home in Deep Creek or Western Branch or Greenbrier, Hickory, South Norfolk, or Indian River. Your home primarily competes against properties with a similar price range, location, square footage, school zone preference, bedroom and bathroom count, lot size, condition, age, and lifestyle. Recent market information illustrates those differences. Now, across Chesapeake, homes have recently been selling in roughly the mid $400,000 range, with many going under contract within several weeks, but in individual areas can be differently. For example, recent data showed homes in the 23323 zip code having longer to sell than the previous year, while Great Bridge also showed an increase in days on market despite strong price growth. That is why a citywide headline cannot tell you whether waiting is a good decision for your particular property. You need to know what is happening inside your competitive market. Suppose your home would likely list between 450 and 500,000. If only two similar homes are currently available, your property may receive more attention. But if you wait until 7 comparable homes are available and 2 of them newer kitchens, larger lots, or seller incentives, the buyer has more negotiating power. Now, that does not mean your home cannot sell. It means your positioning becomes more important. Now, number 2, more inventory makes buyers pickier. Now, when buyers have limited choices, they tend to focus on whether a house meets their basic needs. When buyers have more choices, they begin comparing details. They compare which home has a better kitchen, which home needs less work, which property has the better yard, which seller is offering closing cost assistance, which home is priced most realistically, which listing has been sitting longer, and which home appears to offer the best value. Now, this is where waiting can become expensive. A seller may wait because they want another 10 or 15,000 in appreciation. But if competition increases during that time, they could eventually need a price reduction, repair credit, or closing cost contribution to attract the same buyer. That does not mean prices in Chesapeake are collapsing. Recent information actually indicates Chesapeake home values have remained higher than a year earlier, and homes have continued to move at a relatively healthy pace. The important distinction is this: a market can still favor sellers overall while becoming more competitive for individual sellers. That is exactly why homeowners should not make a timing decision based only on statements like it is still a seller's market. The real question is, how much leverage would your specific home have if it were listed today? Now, part 3, waiting for the perfect interest rate can backfire. Another reason Chesapeake homeowners wait is because they believe mortgage rates will drop and create a surge of buyers. Now, rates certainly affect affordability and buyer confidence, but nobody can guarantee when rates will move, how far they will move, or how buyers and sellers will react. Here's the part sellers sometimes overlook. When rates improve, more buyers enter the market, but more homeowners may also decide to sell. So, you could gain additional buyer demand while simultaneously gaining additional competition. And if every seller is waiting for the same signal, the market can become crowded quickly. There is another possibility. Rates may remain elevated longer than expected. Buyers may continue shopping carefully, prioritizing monthly payment and negotiating harder. That is why I would never tell a homeowner to sell immediately based on prediction. The better strategy is to make the decision using information that is knowable today. Your current equity, your expected selling expenses, your likely price range, the number of competing listings, your next housing plan, and the consequences of waiting. A sound real estate decision should not depend entirely on guessing the next mortgage rate move. Now, part number 4. The market can change before the headlines do. Housing market changes do not always arrive as dramatic breaking news. They often happen gradually. One week, another comparable home appears. The next week, a competing seller reduces their price. Then a home that looks similar closes below its original asking price. After that, buyers begin expecting negotiation room. By the time the average homeowner hears that the market has changed, buyers and active sellers may have already been reacting for weeks. That is why active listings matter. Sold properties tell us what buyers agreed to pay in the past. Pending homes show what recently attracted a buyer. Active homes reveal what buyers are comparing today, and price reductions show where sellers may have misjudged the market. Expired and withdrawn listings can reveal where pricing, presentation, condition, or motivation failed to produce a sale. A seller who only looks at last year's sale price is driving while staring into the rearview mirror. You need historical sales, but you also need to understand what is happening in front of you right now. Part 5. The cost of waiting is not limited to price. Now let's go back to homeowner B. Suppose the homeowner waits 6 months hoping for a higher price. During that time, they continue paying mortgage interest, property taxes, homeowner's insurance, utilities, routine maintenance, possible HOA fees, and unexpected repairs. Maybe the heating and air conditioning system needs service. Maybe the roof develops a leak. Maybe the property requires additional landscaping. Even if the future sales price is higher, the homeowner needs to compare that gain against the additional carrying costs and risks. For example, gaining $10,000 in price does not necessarily mean gaining $10,000 in net proceeds. Selling expenses, ownership costs, repairs, and the cost of the next home all matter. That is why sellers should focus on their estimated net proceeds, not just the headline sales price. The best month to sell is not always the month with the highest theoretical price. It may be the month that produces the strongest overall financial and personal outcome. Now, part 6. 3 signs waiting may be a mistake. Here are 3 warning signs that delaying your Chesapeake home sale may deserve a second look. Now, sign number 1. Competing inventory is increasing. Watch the number of similar homes entering your price range. Do not just count every listing in the zip code. Look at true alternatives a buyer would consider instead of your house. If competition is increasing faster than buyer activity, waiting may reduce your ability to stand out. Now, sign number 2. Price reductions are becoming more common. A price reduction does not automatically mean the market is bad. Sometimes the original price was simply unrealistic. But several reductions among comparable homes can indicate buyers are resisting current asking prices. That is valuable information because you choose your price and timeline. Now, sign number 3. Your next move is becoming more expensive. Sellers often focus entirely on what their current home may be worth later. But what happens to the home you plan to purchase? If your present home gains 3%, but the type of property you want gains 5%, waiting may actually widen the gap. The same principle applies to rent, financing costs, relocation expenses, and construction costs. You must evaluate both sides of the move. Now, part 7 is when waiting can still make sense. I do not want this video to create artificial urgency, okay? It's not what I'm trying to do here. There are legitimate reasons to wait. You may need time to complete necessary repairs. You may be waiting for a job transfer to become official, and you may need to coordinate a school schedule. You may have a tax, estate, divorce, probate, or financial issue that requires professional guidance. You may not yet know where you are moving, or the current numbers may simply not support your goals. Waiting can be the correct decision. The mistake is not waiting. The mistake is waiting by default without reviewing the market, calculating the financial consequences, and creating a plan. A strategic delay has a purpose, a timeline, and a measurable checkpoints. An unplanned delay is based mostly on hope. Now, part 8, the 4 numbers every Chesapeake seller should know. Before choosing a listing date, find these four numbers. Number one, your realistic price range. Not an automated estimate, not the highest price in your neighborhood, a range based on current competing properties, pending activity, recent comparable sales, condition, and buyer behavior. Number two, your estimated net proceeds. Subtract the mortgage payoff, expected selling expenses, possible repairs, concessions, and other transaction costs. Number three, your current competition. How many properties would a buyer compare directly to yours? Which ones are better positioned? Which ones are overpriced? And which ones are already pending? Number four is your cost of waiting. Calculate the estimated ownership expenses for 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. Then compare those costs with a realistic, guaranteed range of possible future outcomes. Once you know these four numbers, you can make a decision based on facts instead of fear. Now, so what is the biggest mistake Chesapeake home sellers may be making right now? It is not simply waiting. It is assuming waiting is automatically safer or more profitable. Chesapeake remains an attractive housing market, and recent data shows values holding up in many areas. But buyers have more information, more ways to compare homes, and different levels of leverage depending on the neighborhood and the price range, according to Redfin. Your home's best opportunity will not be determined by a national headline. It will be determined by your local competition, your pricing strategy, your property's condition, your financial goals, and the reason behind your move. So before deciding to sell, now or wait, get the numbers for your specific property. And if you'd like that, comment the word timing below for my free Chesapeake Seller Timing Guide. And if you would like a no-pressure review of what your home may compete against in today's Chesapeake market, my contact information is in the description below. Now, I'm Scott Stamper, the Cowboy Real Estate Agent, here with KW Capitals, and I help homeowners throughout Chesapeake and the rest of the Hampton roads make confident real estate conditions. Subscribe for more truthful local information about selling a home in Hampton roads in this real estate market. And remember, waiting can be a strategy, but only when you know exactly what you are waiting for. Scott Stamper, catch you down the road.